Now this here is the brand new Mercedes-AMG GT, a car the German brand claims is as competent cruising the high streets as it is on the racetrack. So we've come here to the home of Australian sport, the MCG, and we're going to go just a kilometre away to High Tea at the Windsor. But we're going to take the long way around. The GT arrives with a significantly cheaper price tag than the SLS. It will initially be available in just coupe form, but in line with Mercedes-AMG's local policy of offering the highest performance possible, it comes in the top shelf S specification and costs $299,500 plus on roads. A limited edition 1 variant will also be offered from the outset, raising the price to $314,000 plus on roads, and includes a raft of unique cosmetic and aerodynamic improvements. While that is a lot of cucumber sandwiches, it comes in well below the $465,000 sticker price for the SLS, and positions the GT against the likes of the Porsche 911 Turbo, Audi R8 and Aston Martin Vantage. Now the GT effectively replaces the SLS as AMG's new Hero Sports Coupe. And while it shares the same basic structural underpinnings, it is fundamentally an all-new car. First of all, there's a brand new engine under its bonnet. As it does in the C63 sedan, the GT's 4-litre twin-turbo V8 produces 375 kilowatts at 6,250 RPM, and its maximum pulling power of 650 newton meters is available between 1,750 and 4,750 revs, enough to slingshot it from 0 to 100 k's an hour in just 3.8 seconds, and on to a top speed of 310 kilometers an hour. And it's a cracker of an engine that, despite its turbocharged configuration, with the compressors sitting inside the engine's V for quicker response, it carries over all the sonorous delights of the glorious 6.2-litre naturally aspirated V8 from the SLS. Where it really comes into its own though is its flexibility. With the AMG controller set to its default comfort mode, the GT simply lopes along effortlessly and rides the wave of low-end pulling power. While there's a hint of the V8 burble from its exhaust, it's reasonably restrained and quiet in the cabin. Swing the rotary knob into Sport or Sport Plus setting, and the party really starts to rock. The throttle becomes sharper, the exhaust opens up its lungs, and the weight of the steering thickens to offer better response and feedback in the bends. While the engine doesn't rev to the dizzying heights of the 6.2, it's just as strong and characterful, yet is significantly more fuel efficient with a claimed average of 9.4 litres per 100 k's, although it's a figure that's tough to meet with such accessible performance. As for how it drives, the GT is, not surprisingly, even more polished than the SLS. It still has that traditional front-end, rear-drive hot rod style of its predecessor, but its shorter dimensions ensures the GT doesn't feel as though you're sitting right on top of its rear axle and peering down a ballroom table of its bonnet. The steering also feels more in tune with the rest of the car, and the rear end even more secure, despite all that low-down grunt. And that ensures you can attack the corners with more gusto and confidence. Of course, it can be provoked into lurid behaviour, but it's more on demand than by surprise. It also soaks up the bumps better and is more relaxed around town, giving it a real Jekyll and Hyde personality. Most notably though, it misses out on the iconic gullwing doors from the SLS and is replaced with more conventional items. What that does, first of all, is liberates a lot more space and practicality in this cabin. It also allows for a full-length panoramic sunroof, which gives it a lot more of an airy feel too. Like the SLS, the cabin is a strict two-seater, with the occupants divided by a bold centre console, and it has an overall design that is even more dramatic than its gorgeous exterior. The only gripe is the tiny gear lever is positioned well back and requires a bit of contorting to engage drive, reverse or park. In standard form, these bold seats are super comfy and have a great driving position, but for those that really want to take it to the track, the Edition 1 or optional race buckets are super snug with great lateral support. One of the big pluses with the GT though, especially in comparison to the SLS, comes thanks to its lift-back body style, which not only provides better vision, but a much more practical boot space that is easily capable of carrying a weekend getaway's worth of luggage. But driving something like this really does give you a good appetite, and we've got an appointment at the Windsor. So, from the G to the T in this, what's our verdict? Well, the AMG's new flagship hero is an absolute bruiser when you want it to be, and a gentle cruiser when you need it to be. So it fits that GT moniker absolutely perfectly. What's left to do? Have some cucumber sandwiches and a cup of tea.